The first question I have is, how many 5-digit numbers can be created using the digits 2, 3, 5, 7, 8 without repeating any digits within that 5-digit number? So I have to make 5-digit numbers. So I'm going to draw 5 lines. So if I want to literally list them out, all the numbers, it will take forever. So we're going to use the shortcut. So what we're going to do is, let's say I have to pick a digit. So for the first digit, how many options do I have? So I can pick any one of those 5 digits. I can pick 2, 3, 5, 7, or 8. So I have 5 options. Okay? So how many options do I have for the second digit? What do you think? So whatever digit you pick, you cannot pick it again. So I will have one less option. So I will have 4 options. So the next one, guess how many options I'm going to have for the third digit? 3 options. And the next one, 2. And the last one, 1. You're correct. Now let's multiply all the options and you get 5 times 4 times 3 is total 120. Okay? Alright, let's do another example. Let's say you have 5 people and 3 chairs. How many different ways you can make the 5 people sit on the 3 chairs? So for the first chair, I have how many options? 5 people. It could be anybody out of the 5. So 5 options. For the second chair, how many options do I have? I'm going to have one less option. That's 4. And the third chair, how many options do I have? 3. So if you multiply them, remember to multiply at the end. So that's 5 times 4, 20. 20 times 3, 60. That's the answer. So it doesn't have to necessarily go all the way to the 1 every time. You got it, guys? Let's do another question similar. It says if a pizza shop offers a choice of 3 sizes. How many sizes? 3 sizes. So I'm going to write it down. 3 sizes and 7 different toppings. Now it says different pizzas can be created by changing the size and the choice of toppings. So if Cody wants to order a pizza with 2 different toppings, so he wants to order one pizza with 2 toppings. So I have a pizza here, 2 toppings I can select. So how many different pizzas can he create? So it's a similar one we did. So I have 7 toppings to select from. So how many options do I have for the first topping? So I have 7 options. And the second one less. So 6 options. If you multiply, that's 42. But the question is, let's say if you have a pizza and your pizza is, let's say you have a mushroom and green pepper. And then you have another pizza, you have green pepper and mushroom. Are these two different pizzas? No, they are considered the same pizza. So this 42 is repeating. It's actually counting. If you change the order, it's counting as a different pizza. So we have to get rid of that. So one thing you have to learn is that you divide. You see you drew 2 lines here. So you divide by 2 factorial. Now this exclamation sign is called factorial. It's extremely easy. Let me clear it up a little bit more. Let's say if you have 4 and the factorial sign, that means it's 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. If you have 5 and the factorial, that means 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So instead of writing all these numbers, we can use this symbol called factorial. So technically what you are dividing by is 42 divided by 2 times 1. So technically you're dividing by 2. But this is very important that you understand the factorial, because I'm going to tell you later in another example. So 42 divided by 2 is 21. So you can make 21 different pizzas with 7 toppings. But don't forget that there are 3 sizes. So what can I do now? 21 times 3. So that's 363. So now take a look at what I did. First I just put the 7 options, then 6 options, and I multiply. That's total 42. But then I divide it by the 2 factorial. This is what is different from the question we did before. This division is necessary because of this repeating, this order. If the order changes, here it doesn't matter. So you have to divide. So you might think you could have just divided by 2 why did you divide by 2 factorial? To answer that question, I want to give you another example for you to understand. Let's try this example. Let's say you have 5 people and you want to select 3 people, all right, to make a group. So you want to just make a group. So let's say the 5 people are A, B, C, D, and E. So if you were to select 3 people, you could decide to select, okay, I'm going to select A, B, C. That's your group. Or you could select B, A, C. Now, the A, B, C and B, A, C, are they considered 2 different groups? No, we're making groups, so it's the same group. So I'll have to get rid of this extra groups. So let's do the question the way we handled it before. Since out of the 5 people, we're going to select 3 people, I'm going to draw 3 lines. How many options do I have for the first pick? 5 options, then 4, then 3. Then we multiply. That's how much? 20. 20 times 3 is 60. But the question is, do I have to divide or not? Since we're grouping here and the order doesn't matter, so we have to get rid of the repetitions. So we're going to divide. How many lines did we draw here? This is where the main factorial comes into play. I drew 3 lines. So I'm going to divide by 3 factorial. So what do you always divide by? It depends on how many lines did you draw. It means how many things you have to select. So if you do the calculation, it's 60 divided by 3 times 2 times 1. That's 60 divided by 6. So 10 different groups. If you were to list it out, you'll see you can make 10 different groups. Alright, so the next question is telling a bag contains 75 marbles that are red, blue, or green. The ratio of red to blue marble, so let's write it down. Red to blue marble is 15 to 7. And then the ratio of blue to green. So blue again, blue to green is 7 to 3. Now, if the blue marbles are removed, if 2 blue marbles are removed or replaced, so we cannot do anything with the ratio because ratios are not the original numbers. You cannot just remove marbles from here. First, we have to see that, the first line it says the bag contains a total of 75 marbles. So total 75. First of all, if I make the red to blue to green, the ratio would be what? 15 to 7 to 3, correct? Now, if I add the 15, 7, and 3, it doesn't add up to 75. So what I have to do is I have to scale it up. I have to make them a little bigger. So I'm going to, let's see, times it by 3 each. Let's see if that works. So that's 45, 21, and 9. Does that add up to 75? Yes, it does. So now I have 45 red, 21 blue, and 9 green. What it says here, if 2 blue marbles are removed, so blue is the middle one, so I'm going to minus 2, so that becomes 19. And the replace with 2 green marbles. So green is the last one, so plus 2 here. So that's 11. Now it says, what will be the new ratio of red to green? So red to green. So what happened is the red didn't really change. So that's 45. And the new green is 11. So 45 to 11. Okay? Let's do another question similar to this one. So let me erase it first. So we have a United States presidential coin is made from an alloy for 4 metals. So we have copper, zinc, manganese, and nickel. So copper, zinc, manganese, and nickels. The ratio is 177 to 12 to 7 to 4. Now what happens is the coin weighs a total of 8 grams. So total of 8 grams. So what is zinc? Now, if I add them all, so it doesn't add up to 8. It's much bigger than that. So I have to scale it down. So one way to do is if I add them all, I actually get a 200. But this is not 200. So what I can do is divide the 8 by the 200. So remember, we're scaling it down. This time it's going to be decimal, and that's completely fine, okay? So 8 divided by 200 would be, if you know, divide 8 by 200, you put a decimal, you get a 0, 0, you get another 0, and that's 4. So 0.04, that's the scale you need to use. So you have to multiply each and every number by 0.04, but we're not going to do that because it said what is the weight of zinc? And zinc is the second one. So I'm going to multiply only the 12 by 0.04, and that's 0.48. Let's look at the next question. It says prices for add space. Now spaces, they're 1/4, 1/2 full pages, and the price for those are given, like 200, 350, 600. Now, if I were to see, the 1/4 costs 200. Now 1/2 costs 350. Now full page, means one page, is 600. These are like the advertisement, you know. Sometimes you can open up the newspaper, you see the Bobby Tariq Tutoring Center, new branch in Astoria. We might select that instead of the full page ad, we might do 1/4, or we might do half the page, and sometimes we actually do full page as well. Now, for those that are not free, you gotta pay for that. So of course, pray as well, I guess. Now, let's take a look at this. The table above shows the prices for the newspaper advertisement, a store purchased the 1/4 pages, 1/2, and full pages. So this store purchased 1/4, 1/2, and full in equal numbers and paid a total of 11,500. And you are like, okay, when I added these prices, 200, 350, and 600, it added up to be 1150. Where did this big money come from? So technically, he didn't buy one of each. He probably bought more of them. So I'm gonna see, okay, a set. A set means where you have 1/4, 1/2, one full. That's called one set. So one set will cost you 1150. Now he bought 11,500. So you divide 11,500 by 1150, and the answer is 10. So technically he bought 10 sets. So 10 sets. So look at the question. What is the total amount of page space the store purchased? Page space. So if you buy 10 sets, it means you have 10 of 1/4, 10 of 1/2, and 10 of 1. So 10 of 1 would be just 10 pages, and 10 half pages, if you put them together, it's 10 times half, so it's 5 pages. And 10 1/4 pages, if you want to calculate it out like that, 10 times 1/4 is actually like 10 over 4, that's 2.5. So that's 2.5 pages. So if you add them all, 10, 5, and 2.5, that's 17.5 pages together. I would say you read the question again and try to redo the question. And if you get stuck, you look at the explanation again. These are a little tricky and harder questions, so it will require more than one time of learning. You have to do it a couple times. All right, let's look at the next question. It has to do with percent. So they said there is a large container. It's partially filled with n liters of water. So let's say n liters of water in there. And someone adds 10 liters of water in the container. So 10 more liters of water added, making it 60% full. So now this is 60%. Okay. And then she added 6 more liters of water, making it 75% full. Okay, so now what is the value of n? So what would you do? You have some information. I would say you try it on your own first. And if you get stuck, you look at it. Or even if you can do it, I'll probably show you a shortcut. So take a look. So if 60% is 10 and n, and this 6, when this 6 came, it jumped into 75%. So this 6 must have been the difference between 60 and 75. So if we do, okay, 75% minus the 60%, that's how much? 15%. So technically this 6 is 15%. So if 15% is 6, what is 60%? You can do two different things. One is proportion. You can be like, okay, if 15% is 6, so 60% is just like 4 times. You can see that. So 4 times is just 24. Let's take a look at it again. If 15% is 6, 60% is just 4 times bigger. So that's 24. So 60% is 24, which includes this 10 and the n. If 60% is 24, which includes the 10 and the n. Let's take out the 10 first. Minus 10. So the n must have been 14 because 14 and 10 adds up to 24. I would suggest you try it and take a look at the explanation again and again. If any question, you can put it on the comments. Okay, the next question says, at North High School, a survey asked 2 questions. How many questions? 2. Question A and question B. For each question, students could answer either yes or no. Of the 800 students who responded to the survey, 720 said yes. How many said yes? 720 said yes to question A, and 640 said yes to question B. What is the least possible number of students who could have said yes to both? So they said yes to both. Right? Like some of you guys, you ask a question, oh, okay, do you understand it? Yes. Does anybody need help? Yes, without even knowing what the question is, right? So some people said yes to both. So when I add this, it's 0, 6, 13, 60. Wow, but they said there are only total 800 students. So if there are total 800 students, how can there be 1360? Get it right? So 720, 640, yes. So 0, 6, 13, yeah. But there are total 800 students who responded to the survey. So let's find out the difference. 800, so 0 minus 0, 6, so we get a 13, is 560. So 560, these kids are saying yes to both. Okay, so this is called overlap questions, the both question. So technically, I call them like repeating. So this 560 extra came because of the repeating. They said yes to both. Okay, so you have to remove the 800 minus the 800 to see this 560 extra came from both. Okay, the next question that I'm about to do is a bit tricky. Most of the students, they get it wrong. So I will suggest you try it on your own first. If you get it right, let me know in the comments. I like to see students doing good. So let me try this with you guys. So 103, okay, this question, it says in a sample of 50 cars, so there are total 50 cars, and 12 of them are red, and 10 has backup camera, and out of the 12, 4 have cameras, so some has both. So 4 has both. So the way it works is, how many cars are here that we're talking about right here? So if you add 12 plus 10 plus 4, that's actually 26, but we don't have 26 cars, okay? So, because there are some of them that have both. So the way you have to do it is you add the red and the backup camera, that's 22. But this 4, that's called both, means repeating, means extra. So you have to subtract it out, like the way we did the last question. So total 18 cars are there. Okay, let's do another very similar example quickly. Let's say 10 people own dogs and 5 people own cats. But there are 3 people, those who own both. Okay, so how many people are there? So if you add 10 and 5, that's 15. But the both 3 means it's repeating. You always have to subtract it out. So minus the 3, so you have actually total 12 people. So that's the main concept. And that's where most student gets it wrong. Because both means you have to subtract, that's repeating. So now let's get back to the question. Total 50 cars, and 18 of them falls under these categories, like either red or backup camera. Now let's read the question. If a car is selected at random from the given sample, what is the probability that the both of the followings are true? Let's see what are the 2 things they want to be true. The car is not red, so it cannot be red. And it doesn't have backup camera. So technically these 18 cars we don't want to select because it has either red or backup cameras. So out of 50 minus 18 is how much? Is 32. Right? So these 32 cars is what we're selecting. So 32 out of, remember total sample was 50. So these are the cars which doesn't have any backup camera or not red. So this one you can simplify it by dividing by 2. So you get 16 over 25. Okay, this one is a geometry question. A large circular dinner plate has a radius of 20. So we have to draw a large circular dinner plate. It has a radius of 20. Well, in a circle, this is called center. And from center, you draw any line that touches the circle, that's called radius. So let's say if I draw a line from here, is it radius? Not yet. How about now? Not yet. Once it touches the circle, that's called radius. And if that radius is 20, there's also going to be 20. All the radiuses are equal in a circle, okay? Now, if the radius is 20, now they said there's another smaller circle with the circumference of 20 pi centimeters is placed in the center of the larger circle. So let's look at a couple things before I go on to this question. So you understand what radius means. So there are two things you need to understand, that you have to know how to find area and circumference. Now, circumference means actually the perimeter, means the length of the circle. Area means the space of the circle inside. So the formula for area is pi times the radius power 2. You probably heard of it a lot, pi r squared. And the circumference is pi times the diameter. Yeah, some of you are saying it's 2 pi r, that also works. So pi times the diameter. Now take a look. They said this circle, the big circle, has a radius 20. I could find the area of it easily. But then they said there's another circle inside which has a circumference 20 pi. What does that mean? Does it mean the radius is 20? No. When the circumference is 20 pi, as you can see, the pi, next to the pi is the diameter. So that smaller circle has a diameter 20. It means what is the radius? By the way, the diameter is just double the radius. So the diameter is 20, so radius of the baby circle will be 10. Now they said this plate is covering the big circle, part of it. Now they said, what is the area of the part of the larger dinner plate that is not covered? Means they want to know what is this area, this side. So what we're going to do is pi r squared for the area. Let's find the area of the big circle, and then we're going to minus the area of the small circle. Okay, that will give me the answer. The big circle is pi times 20 squared minus the baby circle is pi times the 10 squared. So that's 400 pi. We're not going to touch the pi, we're just going to leave it as it is. Minus 100 pi. Square means you multiply it twice. Like 20 times 20. 10 times 10. Like that. So this is 300 pi. Okay? Let's do another question with this circle. So before we do that, you see the area and circumference pi r squared, pi times diameter. Try to remember that, okay? I'm not going to need to use that for this question, but I'm just reminding you. So I have here a quarter circle. Quarter means the other part of the circle is missing. It's there, but it's just not, you don't see it. So here, the radius is x plus 1. As I said, radius means anything from center that touches the circle. And another radius, they drew a line here, it doesn't change the fact that this is a radius. So it starts from the center and goes to touches the circle. So that's another radius. But this one is y plus the 2. Y and the 2 means y plus the 2. So we know the radiuses in a circle, are they equal or different? They're equal. So I can say x plus 1 equal to y plus 2. These two radiuses equal each other. Now look at the question. It says, what is y? Don't worry about the in terms of x part. Just say, what is y? So if you want to solve for y, you have to isolate y. So I'm going to minus 2 both sides. So you get y equal to x minus 1. And that's your answer. Y equal to x minus 1.